Hey, I'm Tenny from MissMaven.com. I'm here today with the EcoTools Beauty team, and in a second I'm going to show you how to achieve a soft, polished glam look that's good for any eye color and any occasion. So let's get started. To begin, I'm going to start by prepping my skin with a light moisturizer. And if this is daytime, you're going to want to use something with an SPF, and if it's nighttime, just a regular light moisturizer will do. So I'm taking my Skin Perfecting Brush by EcoTools and just applying this moisturizer all over my skin. If you're going for a more daytime look, you can definitely opt for a BB or CC cream, and the Skin Perfecting Brush is perfect for a light formula. I'm actually going to be mixing a tinted moisturizer and a foundation just for a little more coverage. So I'm going to apply both to the back of my hand and just mix them up. And again, going back to that Skin Perfecting Brush, just going to dip in and start buffing this into my face. And this is a nice dense flat brush, so you can either buff it in for a nice airbrushed finish or stipple it in for more coverage. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the concealer. I'm gonna take my concealer brush, and taking my concealer, I'm just gonna start applying under my eyes, extending past the outer corner of my eyes, and just go down the sides of my nose. I know this looks a little funny, but I'm gonna blend it out. So what I'm doing first is laying down the product where it's supposed to go, and then I'm going back to the Skin Perfecting Brush and just blending it out. Again, I love the airbrush finish that this brush gives me, so I like blending out my concealer as well. This just creates a more natural finish and gets you all the coverage you need. And anytime you're blending, using small circular motions is ideal, just because that gives you the maximum airbrush look. So now that we're done with the concealer, we're gonna move on to the bronzer. I'm gonna grab my bronzer and my domed bronzer brush here and just dip into the product. And because this is an everyday look, I don't wanna go too heavy on the contouring, but just add some bronzer for a nice warm glow. And here's an easy way to remember where bronzer should go. Grab some product and, looking in the mirror, start right at the center of your hairline and create the number 3. So you're extending down below the hollows of your cheeks and then into your jawline. And make sure you're extending down onto your neck as well. And now we're ready for blush. Grabbing my EcoTools blush brush, I'm just gonna apply a nice blue-based pink. This is the perfect color for an everyday look, and it just gives you a nice youthful glow. And anytime you're applying blush, give a little smile just to give yourself a guide for where to apply. Next up, I'm gonna powder down. Taking my large powder brush, I'm gonna dip into the powder and just really focus on setting that concealer under my eyes. If you're a little more on the oily side, you can set all over. For my eyes, I'm gonna start by applying a deep champagne shade all over my lids. But I'm gonna apply this color wet, so I'm gonna take the shadow onto my brush and just give it a spray. And I'm gonna stipple this in just up to my crease and stop right there. And anytime you're using an eyeshadow wet, it just intensifies the pigment. And especially with a shimmery color, it just gives you more of a highlight. So now I'm gonna move on to the crease, and anytime I'm using darker colors, I like to start with a neutral transitional color on the crease. So I'm gonna take my blending brush and just take this medium brown tone and start blending that into my crease. And that just really softens up the look. This not only blends out the color that I've just put on, but it prepares my lids for any darker colors that come after it. So I'm just gonna flip that brush around and use the smaller, more dense side to dip into a darker brown. And I'm just gonna start patting that in, starting at the outer corner of my lash line and working up into my crease. You want to think of this as sort of a sideways V shape, because that'll add a lot of depth and dimension to your eyes. And once I've got that in there, I'm going to flip the brush again and just blend it out. And of course, try to blend upward and not downward so that you're not covering that nice champagne color. Now moving on to highlighting. If you know me, you know I love to highlight even more at the center of the lids. So I'm going to take my eye shading brush and dip into this really pale shimmery color. And once again, I'm gonna use this color wet. So if you apply a very pale shimmery color just at the center of your lids, which is the highest point of your lids, that's really gonna open your eyes and make them appear wide awake. And the reason I'm using these colors, these nice warm neutral colors, is because, again, they're perfect for any eye color. And also when you're using warmer colors and staying away from silvers and blacks, you just tend to look more like yourself and it's just a more natural finish. I'm gonna take my angled eyeliner brush and dip this into a black eyeshadow. If you prefer, you can also use brown. Now with this color, I'm also gonna use it wet. And I'm gonna go into the very outer part of my lash line. And I'm using this angled liner brush with an eyeshadow because it comes in the EcoTools 6-piece starter set, so it's just really convenient to use. And if you like an even softer look than this, you can always go in and smudge out this line. And doing the same thing on the other side, starting at the very outer corner and working my way out, just creating a small kitten flick. But again, you want to keep it the thickest at the outermost part of your lash line. And now we are ready for mascara. Mascara is a really important part of an everyday polished look just because you're keeping everything else pretty natural, so you want to really amp up the lashes. And here's a trick I like to use when I'm applying mascara. I start at the very base of my lashes and close my eye against the wand. That creates some friction so that your lashes look nice and full and long. And personally, I can't complete any look without grooming my brows, so I'm gonna take my EcoTools Lash and Brow Groomer and just brush up my brows, and then I'm gonna go in and fill them in. Anytime you're filling in your brows, you wanna use short, quick strokes just to try to mimic your actual eyebrow hairs. And once you're done filling in your brows, go through and give it one final brush just to soften up what you've just filled in. And we're ready for the lips. Now for an everyday look, it's up to you if you want to opt for maybe a lip balm or even a lipstick. I like a little sheen during the daytime, so I'm going to apply a nice nude lip gloss. And a neutral color like this is perfect for the office, for school, or even if you're just running errands. And that completes the look. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the look. And don't forget, you can find all the brushes I used at ecotools.com.